Welcome to Crocodile MTG, your home of competitive, constructed play in the modern, standard, and legacy formats. Today's video was brought to you by all our wonderful sponsors, affiliates, and patrons. Thank you so much for supporting the Crocodile MTG channel, and we hope you enjoy today's video. Alright, and we're going to go ahead and jump into this match. Alright, yes, we would like to play first. This hand seems okay. We have a Logic Knot on turn 2. If we're playing against Tron, we have the Field of Ruin. We have the Vendilion Click on 3. This hand's a little risky to keep. We are under also the London Mulligan rules as of M20 being just released. I think I'm going to pitch this one back just in case we're against an aggressive deck. And this hand has no land, so again, is not keepable. Maybe I should have kept the first one. Alright, this hand is a little better positioned. I think we keep our lands, and I think we're sadly going to have to keep Logic Knot in Path. Logic Knot's a little awkward in this hand, being I don't have a fetch land, and I think we're going to have to put Narset on that. Maybe we keep Narset, and maybe we put our counter spells on the bottom. So we're definitely keeping this hand. We're definitely putting Cryptic on the bottom. It's either Narset or Logic Knot. I think we're going to have to put Narset on the bottom, unfortunately. Alright, I'm going to start with an island and pass the turn back. It is a little awkward, like I said before, having this Logic Knot and not a fetch land. But if we draw a fetch land, being able to counter something for 1 is pretty relevant in Modern. So it looks like we're against some variation of an Is It deck. It could be Phoenix, it could be like Kiki Moon. It could be anything. Alright, and our opponent plays a Misty and passes back, it looks like. So far, we're not in terrible territory. And we do have enough to counter something for 1. Whether or not that's actually going to work is a question. Our opponent is going to fetch. There's also Bring the Light decks running around recently. So I'm definitely interested in that. Yeah, this looks like a 4 or 5 color deck. It could be Saheeli Felidar in the Splinter Twin combo type deal. It could also be, like I said, these Bring the Light decks. Teferi here is going to get countered by our Logic Knot. Yeah, this is most likely the Saheeli combo. Alright, I think on our opponent's draw phase, I'm going to attempt to Vendilion Click. And we'll see if our opponent has a counter. Alright, it's just a remand, so that's not too bad for us. We can keep putting pressure on our opponent. Alright, so our opponent's going to pay 2 here and play a Sakura Tri-Belter. I think that's fine. Again, if this is the Bring the Light deck, it might be a little concerning, but I think overall, I think we're doing pretty okay. Mulliganing down the 5's difficult no matter what. It may have been correct to keep my original opening hand. So now we have a choice here. We can force our opponent to have another counter. Alright, so our opponent doesn't currently have... We'll see if they crack off this Sarkhan. They have Cryptic mana. Not Sarkhan, Sakura Tri-Belter. They have Cryptic mana, which is a little concerning. But I am going to attempt to V-click our opponent. Alright, they have the remand again. Alright, here's a Misty from our opponent. So if they have something like a Teferi here, that's definitely rough for us. So we'll see what our opponent fetches up here. If they have Teferi, or they could have just the Saheeli. The Saheeli's probably not that bad. Teferi here, though, would be pretty rough. And they grabbed a basic plains. Yeah, plains. Basic island. Alright, it looks like there's a Teferi here. I'm going to attempt to pass Sakura Tri-Builder. We're not going to get too many options to use our mana efficiently, so I just want to make sure I'm using it. Teferi's fine here. It's not great, but we can V-click on our turn, which we probably should have been doing originally. And then we can cast Opt as well. So our opponent's going to get a basic plains here. Snow-covered plains, if you want to be specific. Alright, I'm going to V-click our opponent. Alright, again, this is the Bring the Light deck. So they have Bring the Light, Bring the Light. They have a Snapcaster also. Yeah, this is pretty rough for us. I think we're going to take the Bring the Light, but it's not going to matter because they just have white, green, blue, red. I mean, they have pretty much the whole combo here. I think we just lose, potentially. I'm going to take the Bring the Light, though. We're going to opt here. We'll put Colonnade on top and play it for the turn. Now we can at least attempt to fight the Teferi. So again, our opponent has Bring the Light, land, Snow-Covered Mountain. They have Path to Exile. Okay, so our opponent can actually Bring the Light on our turn, so that's actually a little rough for us. Yes, I'd like to participate in the Path to Exile. Alright, our opponent plays the Snow-Covered Mountain. They have the Bring the Light. They got rid of the Path. So our opponent has 2 cards we don't know about. Alright, there's Cryptic, but I don't really see how that helps us here. We can return target permanent to its owner's hand and draw a card. And hopefully get lucky and hit Dovin's Veto. Snapcaster Remand, potentially. Yep. Yeah, Teferi is just a very rough card for us. They could also like Bring the Light and just grab like their own Cryptic command, which is kind of absurd. I think I'm just gonna play out the Snapcaster here. I know I'm missing out on the opportunity to cast Path or Opt. But I want to get some pressure on the battlefield. That may not be right. Again, I haven't played a lot with a lot of Modern recently. Alright, so they're going to Bring the Light here. I mean, they probably have the Valakut combo. Yeah, there's Scape Shift. Alright, they're casting Scape Shift here. So one thing to note also is I think if we have our Teferi on the battlefield, I think Bring the Light does not work. Alright, that's interesting. They left the Snow-Covered Island This doesn't work. I think our opponent messed up. Yeah, our opponent definitely messed up here. They grabbed 2 Valakuts and 5 mountains. You have to have 6 mountains. They had to sack that snow-covered island. Definitely a mistake on our opponent's part. Now we're going to get to just kill the Teferi. And I think we're back in the game now. We'll pass the turn for our opponent. Yeah, that was our opponent's kill. They definitely messed up by not sacking that snow-covered island. Maybe they thought they had, and maybe they thought they were searching up enough, but that's not the case here. Now, they are going to get to bolt us every single time they find a land. I'm curious how many mountains they have left in their deck. And if they only had 5 mountains left in their deck, they definitely had to leave, like, snow-covered plains or steam vents or something. Alright, there's a stomping ground. Alright, so again, we're going to get hit for 6 every single turn. So we definitely have to be aware of that. But our opponent is down to 11, so hypothetically we can definitely put the pressure on our opponent to get this kind of over with. Yeah, that's unfortunate for our opponent. That was definitely their game. Not saying they don't have it. They might just have the win still. Alright, there's a Ice Fang Quaddle. So, unfortunately, we're going to have to... we're potentially dead. We cannot afford to attack with Colonnade. We can snap Path the Quaddle, but that might just kill us. So that's not ideal. We're definitely in an awkward position. I think I'm going to start by just attacking with the Snapcaster Mage. See if we get him for damage. I think to ensure we don't die next turn, we're going to have to Cryptic Command bouncing one of their Valakuts. Alright, so they're going to block here and then sack. If they have any basic lands left in their deck. Okay, so they let damage... let it go the damage. I think I'm just going to pass the turn now. Now, what's a little weird about this is we can't respond to a land entering the battlefield. We can respond to fetch lands, though, in addition to... Alright, we'll see what our opponent has here. Alright, they have Cryptic. Or they have Bring the Light, I'm sorry. I think we're going to Cryptic here. Counter draw, I believe. Alright. And now when our opponent attacks, we'll snap Path. Or maybe we just want to snap opt. Yeah, we probably just want to snap opt. We'll block the snap. And then we'll start getting it with colonnade. Unless they have a removal spell here. So they have a lightning bolt. Alright, fair enough. So we can just verdict next turn. I'm just going to fire off this path now. Field of Ruin is probably a top just because it can hit Valakut. And then we can also Supreme Verdict. Alright, there's a Search for Tomorrow. They got a basic forest. I wonder if they're out of red sources. Alright, we're going to Verdict here. We'll play Field. I guess on their draw, we'll field the Valakut in case they are out of basics. We'll get our last basic. Hopefully we draw some gas now. If not, we can probably just colonnade a bunch. Alright, there's Quaddle from our opponent. That's unfortunate. Oh my goodness. Now we need to draw like a Snapcaster or a removal spell of some sort. Alright, there's a Narset. We're just going to pay all blue mana for this. Narset would have been good last turn before they drew all these Quaddles. What do we want to grab here? It's probably not the Surgical. As good as that would be. Maybe it's just the Oust. I'll pass back for now. We're definitely on a rough patch. We'll see if they swing at us or if they swing at Narset. If they swing at us, we'll probably just keep this Oust in hand. If they swing at Narset, I'm a little more interested in... Alright, I think we're just going to take 2 here. We'll go down to 7. And our opponent moved to end a turn, so I'm curious what they have here. Alright, there's a path. So now I'm not worried about our opponent's Quaddles. I'd really like to find a Teferi or something here and just start getting pretty good card advantage. I guess a Jace here is pretty good. I'm going to Brainstorm. That's a rough Brainstorm. Alright, I'm going to pass the turn back. Maybe I should have plussed there and kept them off of like a mountain, because I guess they can just bolt our Jace now with Valakut. I'm really hoping they're just out of mountains. Maybe I should have swung there with Colonnade, giving my hand. Alright, if our opponent finds a mountain or something, I'm a little more concerned. Alright, I'm gonna Oh, Oust is a sorcery. My bad. Alright, I'm gonna hope this doesn't kill us. We're going down the 6 here. That was my mistake with the Oust. I am curious what they have in their hand, though. Alright, they don't have any more basics. I chose not to block. Alright, there's a Sakura Tri-Belter. So we know right now that they can't find anything with that. We know we're drawing a land per turn, unfortunately. Alright, I'm going to start by fetching here. We're going to grab a Hollowed Fountain, let it enter tapped. We're going to Brainstorm. And we'll see what our opponent has, if they have anything. They could have Bolt. They most likely have 2 more bolts or 3 more bolts in their deck somehow somewhere. They definitely had. Okay, thank goodness. All right, I'm gonna fire off this Oust on the Ice Fang. Actually, I probably just want to keep. I have to get this game over with. I'm just trying to figure out if I want to. I guess I'll leave it back as a blocker. Alright, our opponent paid 2. A little surprising there. They can't really attack. If they do, I'm going to fire up this Colonnade. We are going down the 4 next turn, which is a little risky. Alright, I'm going to fetch here. We're going to fall to 4. I have this Force of Negation, so I'm not too concerned. Our opponent, notably, is down to 12. We're going to fire off this Brainstorm one more time. I think we put Opt and Path on top. Or maybe it's Wrath of God and Opt. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Alright, I'm going to start firing up this Colonnade. Move the combat. So right now our opponent's on a 3-turn clock. Alright, our opponent has a spell here, it looks like. Return target. I think we're going to negate that. And hopefully our opponent doesn't have like a kill spell of some sort for next turn. Alright, I think this is the turn they're drawing the Quoddle, however you say it. And then if our opponent plays it, alright. So I think I'm just going to path here. And again, our opponent doesn't have any more basic lands. So they misplayed there. They can't draw a card because of Narset. If they would have played that on my turn, they would have been able to. Alright, we're going to fire off this Brainstorm on Jace. Alright, there's just everything we want. So how do we want to arrange this? I guess the op's on top. We'll start with Wrath of God. I'm going to play Teferi. Alright. And our opponent does concede here. So we're going to bring in this Ashiok because our opponent wouldn't be able to search then. I don't mind Disdainful Stroke here or Veto. I think Timely can be used for our advantage if we fetch down lower than our opponent. But our opponent doesn't have a lot of shock lands, so I don't think that's something we necessarily want here. Verdict's probably fine. Wrath of God, I guess is fine. I don't feel like there's a lot of like simple advantage. Do we want a Lyra here? Probably not. I think Lyra is too slow. Again, these paths feel a little weird as well. Maybe we do want these Timelies just to get our... So let me sort real quick. So we want our Teferis because our opponent is playing Teferi as well. We want our Narsets. We want our counter magic. Maybe it is just the board wipes. Just kind of go one for one. I could see trying to cut a path, but again, if we're able to Field of Ruin and Surgical, then that can just ruin our opponent's game plan. D-Sphere seems a little weak. I guess if our opponent has Planeswalkers, it's not too bad. But then again, we have V-Click, and we kind of have a creature base going. Maybe we don't want these Timelies. Maybe we just play the counter war more or less. I feel like I want this D-Sphere, but I don't know what to cut at this point. Maybe it's a path and just play... Because we don't want to ramp our opponent too much. We'll be on the draw here. This hand looks fantastic. We're going to keep it. We'll start with a Colonnade, go into a Hollowed Fountain, and then play a Glacial Fortress. We want to hit all our land drops, so I don't mind this. And we have Force Negation, which is really good against the deck we're playing against. We don't have any early removal, so we're going to have to rely on like something like Snapcaster Mage or the Teferi to kind of get us back in the game. Stomping Ground here from our opponent. Ice Fang Quaddle. I think that's fine. Alright, there's a Jace. We're going to go ahead and let that enter untapped. We'll see here if our opponent tries to play a Teferi. I don't want to yield, but I'll let our opponent come in for one. Alright, our opponent's immediately fetching. I did take the Timelies out, right? Yeah. So that's actually probably a good thing, because I don't think we're going to get below our opponent ever, because they just have so many fetch and shocks that they need to grab. If I have to force negation here, I think I'm going to pitch the Snapcaster Mage and probably Vendilion Click our opponent next turn. Alright, there's this Teferi. So, yeah, I think I'm going to pitch the Snapcaster Mage. Maybe I just want to... Yeah, I'm just going to play our Teferi while we can. And pass the turn back. Alright, there's Ice Fang. There's a search on Suspend. Our opponent not hitting their land drop, it looks like. Okay, there's the land drop. Alright, here's a Field of Ruin for us, which is pretty good. I'm going to tick up to Fairy. Maybe I just want to... No, I probably want to play it safe and Vendilion Click our opponent on their draw step. Yeah, they can draw. Alright, they can't react to anything here, which is good for us. And then I can kind of see what our opponent's working with. And if they have counter spells or Bring the Light, I don't care about any of those cards. I do care about the Lightning Bolt. Yeah, and our opponent can just play whatever. I'm 90% sure, which I'm really hoping this is the case. I'm 90% sure Bring the Light just doesn't work. Sure. Oh, there's a Huntmaster. Alright, that's a little rough. Our opponent also has Supreme Verdict in hand. Tick up. Huntmaster's a little rough for us. We do want to be playing a spell here. So I'm going to play out this Jace and probably Brainstorm. And make our opponent try and figure out what they're doing. Colonnade here is nice, but I don't think that's what we want. Let's shuffle a couple of these lands away. Pass the turn, and then we can, on their draw step, fetch and alright, so our opponent's gonna fetch here. Alright, Search for Tomorrow is not going to be able to be cast from Suspend because of Teferi. And now the question is, do I want to... I guess I want to Huntmaster in combat. Kill Huntmaster in combat. They're probably going to go after the Teferi here. That's definitely interesting to me. I'm going to block the wolf here. If our opponent chooses not to play anything, I'm just going to path the Huntmaster end of turn. I just want to make sure our opponent's not going to play anything first. Oh no! That was almost bad for me. Alright, so I'm going to grab basic planes here and path. That was rough on my part. I accidentally thought the end step was unselected, so I tried to select it. Alright, Huntmaster is not going to deal anything to me. Ooh, there's a Narset. I think I'm going to start with Jace. Again, let's get rid of a couple of these lands. I think I'm going to grab a basic island here and then play out the Narset. Probably take Logic Knot here. Tick up. Yeah, and again, this Quaddle's not going to do anything here. Quaddle. So they're going to have to find something else to try and kill one of our Planeswalkers. And I think just the huge advantage of this, if we find Teferi's Puzzle Box also, I think that's just the end of the game. Alright, and that's the end of the game there. Thank you so much for watching. Please go hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed today's video. For your custom playmats, mousepads, and more, head over to Inked Gaming. Use promo code crocodilemtg10 to receive 10% off your order. Today's video was brought to you by all our wonderful sponsors, affiliates, and patrons.